Yo, what's up, Browns family? Welcome to another episode of Brown and Orange Weekly. I'm your co-host, Clarence Wilson, and with me, as always, is that man, that dude, my guy, the Fritz, James L. Fritz. How you feeling?
Man, you got a couple happy co-hosts tonight. Why is that? And that's because of our victory Monday today from the Pittsburgh Steelers victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers victory yesterday, 13-10 at Brown Stadium. A great day. Always a great day to beat Pittsburgh. Always a great day to shut up the local fans in this area that live in Ohio, to wave that terrible towel. But, yeah, it was nice to finally get that victory over Pittsburgh so we can get a win over each of our division rivals and balance that out with the opportunity now to win the last game of the year in Cincinnati, to sweep Cincinnati. But it's great to have another season where we can say we've actually beaten each team in our division, Clarence.
Yeah, it's nice, and especially yesterday. Yesterday, it was a little bit of a war of attrition. Coming in basically with the injury to Watson and us starting DTR, we were almost kind of in a similar spot as Pittsburgh, where we basically needed to rely on the defense and our quarterback not to make mistakes. And for the most part, we did that. Like, it really wasn't on, DTR didn't have a great day, but he didn't make a lot of mistakes. He had the one pick. We didn't help him out with all the drops. But again, we did what we needed to do, and Myles Garrett just came out and just dropped a bomb on these Steelers from the jump. Should have had safety. We should have had two safeties, quite honestly. But
yeah, that first one, I mean, he had him. I was hello, welcome to Cleveland. Kenny Pickett drilled, taken down to the turf in the end zone, right in front of the dog pound. Great play by Myles to start the game. And should we have challenged that? Which I heard today that Stefanski actually did have the challenge flag on the field for that. Did you hear that?
I heard something to the effect of he threw it, but it was too late or something like that. But yes, I did hear that he had a flag tossed or was going to, or there was something that was there.
And I think he asked if it was a challengeable call.
Probably.
A challengeable play.
Yeah.
Something happened there, whether it was a video coordinator not chiming in, letting them know, hey, make sure you keep that challenge flag on the field. But, we missed out on 2 points on that. But, when you have a victory and you still had, more points in Pittsburgh, it's tough to complain on a day like today. But, hell of a play by Myles Garrett.
Yeah, he's I've deemed him Mr. BSU, Mr. Blow Shit Up, because that's all he did in this game. Just destroyed these Steelers left and right. Offensively, was a little bit of a struggle. I thought Ford was going to be on his way to a great game with the way his first few runs started out. But the Steelers, to their credit, ended up, kind of tamping down our run game. But again, I will say Ford scored our only touchdown. So on that crazy replay where he just barely got it over.
Now, when they came back from commercial and you knew they were challenging that, and when you saw it before it came back from commercial, what did you think?
Nah. It was just – I thought it was too hard to tell.
Yeah, exactly.
They called him out, and they called it not a touchdown on the field. So I was like, oh, we're just going to get Brownsed again. So
right. I mean, everybody saw the play. Ford, it's third down and goal. Ford rushes towards the goal line, somehow turns, between getting hit by the defenders, but kind of gets turned sideways, and somehow, I don't know how the replay officials I think we got a call there where they saw that somehow the ball crossed the goal line on that, and we'll take it. But yeah, I think we still go for it on fourth down, right?
Yeah. Oh,
There's
yeah.
no doubt. The way we were playing on defense, we were still going to go for it. I think we get it, whether it's the tush push play now that's popular. I think we still score a touchdown there regardless. So, yeah, the run game was non-existent. Now, when I say non-existent, it didn't show up statistically, but the rush attempts, we had a total of, what do we have? 29 rushing attempts. So the point of that is to have some sort of balance within this offense. Even though our yards per carry, Kareem Hunt only was rushed 12 for 36 for 3 yards per carry. Ford was 12 for 31 for 2.6. DTR had 3 rushes for 20 yards. Tillman had the one end around for 8 yards. And Pierre Strong had 1 for 1 yard. Seemed like he had that one nice run, but there must have been a tackle for a loss on.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep screaming his praises from the high. Get him a few more carries, man. He just looks explosive. That's just. I mean, I know they're not. It's hard to take away carries from, I guess, Kareem and Ford, but at the same time, like neither one of those guys are Nick Chubb. So share the wealth a little bit. I don't know. I like Pierre Strong. That's just that's the Browns fan of me. Like
it does. I'm with you though. I see that little burst. It's like,
yeah,
ooh, if he could just get to the next level,
he's gone.
Yeah. It's so close. So, the run game wasn't, statistically high for us yesterday, but I think as a whole, we did exactly what we needed to do, and we still need to attack that defense with a run, create that balance, but also show the physicality on the offensive line and the versatility of what we're able to do. Pittsburgh was doing a lot of the same. Now, Warren had that big run to start the third or near the beginning of the third quarter after halftime. So they were trying to give it right back to us. So we knew it was going to be a slobber knocker type game, a smash mouth football type game. And I am so thankful, Clarence, that we came out on top, because I don't know how I could deal with another loss to Pittsburgh, going 0-2 against them during a season. But thankfully that didn't happen. And the reality is we got a chance. 1989 Central Division champions. I won a new pennant. I won a 2023 AFC North Division pennant. And we're right there. We're right behind the Ravens. Yeah, we need a little help, but it just feels good to be going into this is the week of Thanksgiving, and we're definitely giving thanks to our Cleveland Browns. And it's so great to know that we're going to have meaningful football into Thanksgiving and after Thanksgiving, into the holidays.
Yeah, man. It's absolutely wild that what this team has been through all year, losing Chubb in the very first Steeler game, week 2, then the euphoria of beating Baltimore last week gets trampled on by the news that Watson is out for the rest of the season. And this team still came back. And it was, the times it was a tough game to watch. It was a old AFC Central kind of football battle. I will say I was a little bit shook when Warren did get that run, because it was the formula that Steelers have been using all year long. Just play good defense and hang around and hang around and hang around. And then, Pickett pulls a decent drive out of his ass for them to win the game. So when Warren made that run and brought it to 10-7, I was a little annoyed, because again, that's their formula for winning. But our defense clearly stepped up, and we put our own, I don't want to call it Steelers-esque performance, but we did what they do to win games. We just played great defense, got just enough points on the board to get the W. I was concerned with some of the drops. There's just a lot of drops. But outside of that, for a rookie quarterback starting a week after, like I said, we felt like maybe our season went to absolute crap. I couldn't be happier with what I saw yesterday. That team came out and won it.
And I want to respond to what you said about the drops, because my opinion was this. When you watch DTR's ball come out of his hand, it seems to have more velocity on it than Deshaun's passes.
It's a rocket.
I think that's what had to do with Njoku having those drops there in the second half. And, he went out in social media and I believe in his press conference, apologized for his performance. He wanted to go hit the jugs machine after the game. And it did feel like, young David Njoku, like really early in his career, where he did have those drops and where you saw the talent. It's like, but you got to catch the ball. That is the primary role of a tight end besides blocking. But no, I think that had a lot to do with it. Whether it's ball placement, you start getting familiar with where Deshaun's throwing the ball, even though Deshaun was only back how many weeks?
Not enough.
2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Before the injury. And, I think they needed to make that adjustment because his balls that DTR were throwing yesterday were on a rope, man. Those slants to Amari, go back to the last drive, off to the left to Elijah Moore. He stepped into that. But what I found out yesterday, and I'm trying to remember what I was watching to get these stats, but they were talking about DTR's drop. So his drop average was just a little over 3 yards before he was letting it rip.
Yeah.
But his league average is over 6 yards. So Stefanski and his do not F this up playbook game plan that he had yesterday. And I don't blame him. He wanted to put the young man in a position to win. He wanted to allow his defense to dominate this game. And, with that type of game plan where you're just basically two steps and you're letting it rip on these short passes, for me, it was kind of like, it reminded me of a lot of college throws for DTR. They told DTR to go back, watch the old UCLA, USC tapes, get his confidence going, see what was working for him. They just want him feeling good and positive going into this game. And they wanted to try to take the pressure off of him. But do you think the pressure was off of him or not? Because you saw him on the fourth quarter when Hopkins was getting ready to kick that field goal. I know people saw his face in his tears afterwards, but if you noticed, he was just over on the side of the bench getting ready to say his prayer to make that field goal good. And you saw him lift his forearm with his sweatband, and he got both eyes. I'm like, yeah, man, this young man's feeling it. And, that's a lot to ask for a rookie. So what was your take on how he handled himself yesterday for his performance?
I thought he played solid. I mean, again, he's a rookie. It wasn't, to be honest, like I didn't know what to expect, especially because, the one start that we saw was pretty rough. I wasn't a big fan of him, throwing the ball 43 times, but, there was points where this got necessary just because our running game was kind of stagnant. So, all in all, I'll take it. It's much better than that first start. Obviously, we want to see growth out of him. But I've got a question. You mentioned a lot of his drops were these 3-step drops and fired out. Nothing really downfield really whatsoever yesterday. How sustainable do you kind of think that kind of offense is going to be?
Well, it's so sustainable that Joe Flacco signed at the end of yesterday to the practice squad, which we knew it was coming after his workout from last week. There was talk that he was going to be signing. We thought it was going to be Monday, but Adam Schefter reported that, he signed it yesterday, which, that was all in the bag before the game even started yesterday. But
oh, yeah.
I know people are not necessarily excited about Flacco being on this roster, but I see it as an absolute necessary evil, if you will. When I say evil, please take that lightly. Former Raven,
yes.
But no, former Super Bowl MVP, somebody that has a great, statistically great in the playoffs, has won, has been there, he's been to where our team wants to be. And I still think that he's not here to just back up DTR this entire time.
I tend to agree. My issue with bringing Flacco here has more to do with this offense seems to be designed around a quarterback who can move. We see it with Watson. They don't run him a lot because obviously they don't want to get him killed, but yeah, his legs are what, brought us a victory against Baltimore. Him being able to make plays that not a lot of people can make with his legs really helped us beat Baltimore. DTR, same type deal. He's a mobile quarterback. With Flacco, man, that man's a statue. And so, yeah, behind our offensive line right now, who is definitely dinged up, I'm kind of concerned that our offense is not going to have a chance to be as dynamic as it would be with, say a mobile quarterback. Now, Flacco can get the ball downfield. Okay, great. But, I'm also concerned about him not being able to move around back there. And if he gets killed, we're right back where we are today. So that's my biggest concern with Flacco. Obviously he is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. I don't care what nobody has to say. That his wide receivers bailed him out a lot. I remember him throwing up a lot of gimme balls in those playoff runs, and and his wide receivers bailing him out. But the man won a Super Bowl, so he is necessary, absolutely, because we've got a PJ Walker who's an XFL or USFL quarterback and a rookie, so he's definitely necessary. I just don't know that. Well, not that I don't know. It's I wonder how this offense will change when he gets the reins, because I kind of tend to agree with you. He wasn't brought here to back up DTR.
But don't you think within the Kevin Stefanski playbook that there's enough in there that he can at least call plays to resemble what he did for Kirk Cousins with Joe Flacco?
I like to think so. I like to think so. I'll put it this way. I've been one of the biggest Stefanski critics over the last few years. So far this year, he is putting on a masterclass, in my opinion, of coaching. Could not have thought that the Browns would be, 7-3 with all these injuries across the line, quarterback, running back. We started 3 separate quarterbacks. Looks like we're probably going to start a 4th. And here we are sitting at 7-3. So I think at this point, Stefanski can scheme up anything. That's kind of my honest opinion.
And I do have to give Stefanski credit, for what he's doing when you look at it as far as just the record, and you look at it for not just the injuries, but the quality of players that we've lost that are Pro Bowl type players or are Pro Bowl players, especially on the offensive side. It's like, how much more can you take? How many more injuries? But I think you have to. The reason why Joe Flacco is here is because you've got to give our defense and our offense, but our defense deserves to be able to look on the other side of the ball and feel that whoever they put out there has a chance against, as we sit here right now and watch the Kansas City Chiefs here on Monday Night Football. You've got to have somebody out there that's going to give you confidence against the Kansas City Chiefs in a potential AFC championship game at Arrowhead.
Yeah.
And to think that a rookie is going to be able to handle that after what we saw yesterday with, yes, it was only his second start. I got to be fair to the young man. I like his demeanor. I think he's got a moxie to him. I like his ball. But I do think, and this is, it's obvious. They protected him yesterday with the game plan. They gave him a lot of college throws, a lot of short throws, but you do have to adapt to that. And now he's faced two of the damn toughest defenses in the NFL. You know, it's not like he got to go up against the Cardinals. It's not like he got to go up against the Chicago Bears here in the future. Maybe. I know they're on the schedule. The Bears are on the schedule here soon. But still, the Bears roll into Detroit, one of the hottest teams in the NFC, and they had Jared Goff throw 3 picks yesterday. Had one of his definitely his worst day on the season. So it is still on any given Sunday. It's not like there's no bye weeks in the NFL. Like when I say bye week, like a scheduled, like Ohio State when they schedule Youngstown State or Akron.
Exactly.
There are none of those games, and DTR could use some of those, and we just don't have them. They're not available. As much as we want to think, like I said, the Bears would be really crappy. Look what they did yesterday.
Yeah.
So we have to have that veteran presence. No different than when we made the trade right before the season started, and got in Dustin Hopkins, Florida State's own Dustin Hopkins, for another game winner. We got to give him credit. The young man keeps coming up, gold, back-to-back game winners against our 2 biggest division rivals. Dustin Hopkins, thank you for coming to Cleveland and being a part of this team, because where would we be without you?
It's kind of wild. I think we all kind of thought, you know, they spent a 4th-round pick on K. York. They're going to give him some time to do his thing, but he very clearly showed that he was not ready within the preseason alone. I don't know. I always tell the story of, you know, I was at the preseason game last year when he was drilling kicks from, 65 yards and everybody's losing their mind. And I was like, that's kind of sweet. But then in that same game during warm up, I saw him shanking from like the 40 yards, 45-yard kicks. So I'm not sure what he was, but yes, bringing Hopkins here and getting rid of him, getting rid of York, where would we be without him? Like, honestly.
And what's great about Dustin, if anybody's listened to some of his interviews, he's just a grounded, faith-based guy. Doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low, goes out there, does his job. And man, Dustin, if you're listening, which we hope we are, the winter's coming. So the swirling winds at Brown Stadium are going to be there. I hope the godfather of kicking in that stadium, Phil Dawson, is working with you and preparing for wintertime football with that winds and the snow. There's no better person to learn from, but so I'm excited to see if he can continue his success as we look to try to win the division and try to host our first home playoff game in forever. So
it'd be so great.
Yes.
So great.
So great season and great job by the special teams yesterday.
Absolutely. So I want to touch on the Flacco thing again really quickly. Not to diss D-Hop, because we'd be mad as hell.
That's all right. We gave him some love. He's a kicker. He gets it.
Yeah, because we would be, we could be sitting at a cool 5-5 or worse without him. So, but kind of on this Flacco. So the next 3 games, we've got the Broncos, the Rams, the Jaguars. So at the Broncos, at the Rams, and then they get to come home and play Jacksonville. So let's say these Broncos come out and the defense looks like they did against Miami, and DTR has a really good game. Not that we dropped 70, but DTR has a nice game.
I think we would play Sunday and Monday and not get to 70.
Yeah,
play a doubleheader week and 70 points.
Yeah, I mean, it might take us, with our current offensive structure, it might take us the rest of the season to hit 70 points total. But let's just say for let's say hypothetically, DTR comes out, has a good game against the Broncos, and let's say he comes out and has a solid game against the Rams. Do you think Flacco still sees the field, or do you think it's almost kind of a given because we both kind of said that we expect Flacco to play at some point, but if DTR starts picking things up, you can't pull the kid at that point, can you?
Joe Flacco is going to play. Joe Flacco, I believe, is going to start sooner than later. And DTR, I don't feel will, he's going to be disrespected. I think he understands. He understood the way things happened in Baltimore. I think he understands the position he was in, and thankfully had some more time to prepare for this game against Pittsburgh. But like I said, you could see the emotion and just it's not, and it wasn't his arm, Clarence. It was the pressure of the moment.
Yeah.
That kind of broke him. And like I said, I'm not blaming him. I'm not calling him weak. I'm thankful that he was as strong as he was yesterday to hang in there. And like I said, the playbook was, hey, you got 43 passes in there. Just don't F it up, right? Don't turn the ball over. That's tough to do, man. That's tough to be out there, and it's like you can't let it rip like you want to.
Yeah.
You can't just be back there and feeling confident where, it's the elite quarterbacks get back there, look like they're playing backyard football sometimes.
Yes.
So, no, I definitely believe that Joe Flacco will be our starter at some point in the very near future because they are looking ahead at making sure that this defense and making sure that the special teams, but mainly the defense, is rewarded with somebody that can sustain long drives, that can get us 20 to 30 points a game to win a Super Bowl. I know it sounds crazy to think that way, but if we can get into the 20s every game, Clarence, we got a chance to win a Super Bowl this year.
We got a shot.
And they can't give that up.
No.
You have to. I'm just surprised it's taken this long.
James, hold on 1 second. We have a special guest. Hold on.
Making a call to the
I know
bullpen.
that ain't who I think it is.
Oh,
I know that ain't who I think it is.
Who is that?
Ladies and gentlemen.
I don't even know who I am. What? What the hell?
Where is he, Clarence? I can't tell.
Welcome to the stage. Welcome to the stage. My man, that dude, that guy, Dean Samples. He's in the building.
I know I come in waves, man. It's just like very sporadic lately. But I'm here. A little sick, but I'm here.
It's not baseball season, but you can come in out of the bullpen.
There you go.
Give us a few innings here and tell us your thoughts on the huge victory against our hated arch rival, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
No, I think it was good. It wasn't pretty. DTR did his thing. He showed up when it counted. He let us down the field when we needed to at the end of the game. Set D Hop up for a game-winning field goal. Defense played stellar as always. Still pissed that we didn't get called on that safety, but that was 100% a safety. I'm sure you guys already talked about that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's safety. Dean, question.
Am I frozen?
We're discussing right now. What you say?
I'm frozen. Oh my! Am I frozen?
You and your damn Wi-Fi.
Is my
You're better
bad?
now.
We're about to start a GoFundMe account for Dean's Wi-Fi, or we're going to have him move. So we might have to start that GoFundMe for his moving account. Get him somewhere closer where we can get him in there, where it doesn't feel like he's on Mars. Poor guy.
Right? He's trying, y'all. He's trying.
Yeah, he's fighting just like our Browns. He's a little bit down and out. He keeps trying to come in and join the show, and glad to have him on. And maybe he'll come back in again. But man, it was so much. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, because I was gonna ask him the same question because we were kind of on the topic. Where does Flacco start? Where? It clearly won't be against the Broncos. So does he start against the Rams, the Jags, or the Bears?
That's a great question. I don't know how familiar he is with the playbook. Because the other thing is DTR needs to get those first string reps this week in practice, so we definitely know it's not this week. Mm-hmm. Does it happen for the LA game? I think there's potential there, especially how this week's game plays out in Denver. I'm going to throw some numbers out to you, Clarence, and I want to hear what you have to say about what these numbers represent and see if you can figure out what they are. So I'm going to give you numbers of 26, 39, 24, and 33. So I'm going to say them again. 26, 39, 24, and 33. Do you know what those numbers represent?
39 is what we scored against the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
24 is what we gave up against Seattle.
Yep, you're on it. So I'm looking at our
scored against Baltimore.
Yeah, the scores on the road. So, and I take that back. The Colts, I should have said 38 because we did win that game. Mm-hmm. So we gave up 38 points at that point. But still, you can see how many points we're giving up on the road. We need to keep that in mind because we got back-to-back road games here coming up on the West Coast. 4:00 games, which is fantastic for anybody like myself that needs to do their leaves on a Sunday and get out there and do a little yard work before the game comes on. But yeah, our points per game average on the road for RD, definitely not as good as home. So we got to keep that in mind that is DTR going to get to lead the offense this week to something within the 20s to low 30s to win the game. How confident do you feel about that?
Against the Broncos, I feel all right. Like I'm not. They are playing much, much better. What have they run? 4 in a row, 5 in a row, 4 in a row.
They've won 4 in a row. I believe it's going to be the hottest matchup of the weekend with our 3-game win streak that we haven't mentioned yet, which was outstanding, and a 4-game win streak with Denver starting to play better. They got rid of a few veterans like Randy Gregory on that team, and seems like some of the younger guys are stepping up and for that Sean Payton and Russell Wilson, that big win 2 weeks ago in Buffalo.
Yeah, but I'm not concerned with the Broncos. It's not that I don't respect them. I mean, I thought they were the worst damn team in the league. When's the last time? 70 points? But they've clearly turned it around. But I think the Broncos could be a very similar game to kind of what we saw this week. The Broncos don't, they're not offensive juggernauts or anything like that. Well, they put up 17 in a win yesterday or something like that. So
yeah, I'd have to look, but
yeah, I feel like they put up 17 in a win. So to me, I don't really feel like
they scored 21 to 21. Scored Minnesota 21-20. They scored 12 points in the fourth quarter.
Exactly. That's not going to happen against our defense. I'm sorry, that's not happening. So we hold them to 9. We scored 13 again. We win. So I mean, I'm not super concerned about the Broncos. The Rams a little bit more because Stafford is coming back, and that's some decent quarterback play. But again, can this defense hold teams to 13 points a game for the remainder of this season? for us to be able to win some games, by scoring, one touchdown and, 3 field goals. Can they do that?
I'm in a different position with you on that. I just feel really concerned because we just got done playing the 2 most physical teams maybe in the NFL. I mean, we already went through our 49ers game. We've proven ourselves. That's what I'm so proud of this team, is we've proven ourselves as a team that can hang with these physical teams, the Niners, the Steelers, and the Ravens. We have 3 wins over those teams. But, man, none of those teams offensively look, Lamar came into our building and scored 28, right? I think we lost 28-3 on that one. And then they still scored 31 points in Baltimore. So there's an MVP-type quarterback that we were unable to shut down really either game. So I'm definitely concerned with what Russ and Sean Payton got going on, because I'm concerned that after those 2 weeks that we've went through physically, can we pack all that back up? All that emotion that we had yesterday of Jim Donovan returning on the mic from his cancer treatments, calling play-by-play, which was awesome to see. One of the best things that we saw. And then you had Nick Chubb showing up and being in that tunnel and making his presence known and seen on the field, exciting the fans, and already an excitable game against a division rival with Pittsburgh. But it all came together. It's tough, man. It's really tough, Clarence, to come off all that emotion. And look what DTR went through, the raw emotion he had at the end of the game. How do we pick that back up and bring that and pack it on the plane to Denver? I do have my concerns this week.
I don't know. I think I've seen enough of the Broncos because it seems like they're always on television for some unknown reason. Well, I know why, but I don't know, over the last basically season and a half, they don't scare me. They remind me of, they're trying to win the same way the Browns are trying to win. It's not pretty. They're just trying to gut out some wins. So I'm not super concerned about them. The only thing that bothers me about that game, honestly, and about any game that DTR is going to start, is offensively the margin for error is really, really slim. So we were able to get away with him throwing a pick yesterday. There might be times where, one pick is going to cost us the game. Did not yesterday, but again. But yeah, I'm not. Denver doesn't scare me. The Rams scare me a little bit because of, like I said, the better quarterback. Jaguars, obviously, that's a team on the rise. They scare me. But
I'm looking at.
Go ahead.
Well, Clarence, I'm looking at the stats yesterday. What Minnesota was able to put up. Matson had 81 yards. They had a guy, Chandler, 73 yards, and then Dobbs had 21 yards on the ground. So we should be able to move the football on the ground. That's the one thing we're going to have going for us, I believe. And hopefully they can get some play action for DTR to be able to hit some guys that are not freaking 7 yards down the field. Hopefully there's a little opening of that Stefanski don't F it up playbook this week to allow DTR to throw down a little bit. At least stretch a field, because you saw what happened. Pittsburgh made that adjustment at halftime like Tomlin was going to do. And they said, all right, boys, play up. It's kind of like in baseball when you were in Little League and you'd see people move in on the outfield because they knew damn well kid wasn't going to hit it out in the outfield.
Oh, yeah.
So they'd move him in.
all the infielders came in when they knew the bunt was going to happen. Yeah. That's basically what they did yesterday.
Yeah, because, and you could just see the DTR in the first half versus the second half. You could just see it on his face because he'd be hitting guys. He's doing his checkdowns. So he's following his playbook. He's following what he was supposed to do. But he'd get that ball out there, and there was no yak. There was no yards after catch almost ever. And it was got to be frustrating as hell because he feels like he's doing his job, but the guys just could not get the yardage with it. So, and Denver saw that. you know that they're going to probably force his hand too. So I think this will be a really, really interesting game for how Stefanski calls it. You know, for him, if we know Stefanski, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So I can see him hammering it out, and hopefully, said that run game is going to be key this weekend. And every week going forward, the defense, we're going to be praying, or the special teams, that they can put up 6 for us.
Yeah, agreed.
Without a doubt.
Agreed. Well, buckle up, man. It's about to be a little bit of a ride. We're 7-3 on our third quarterback, and with the best defense in the league, with a shot to make the playoffs this year. 7-3 after 10 games, 7 left. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
I know you wanted to mention, Rodney McLeod.
Yes.
Out for the season.
And that was just like a quiet little drop. Like, again, kind of almost like maybe it was just quiet to me because I wasn't on social media much at all over the last day and a half, or basically last day. But I felt like that just kind of dropped this afternoon, and it's like, damn, kind of like Deshaun, the morning of last week after we beat Baltimore. But if anything, this defense, it's next man up. It's been that way.
Well, the thing about McLeod is that, coming with Shorts' defense and playing for them with the Eagles, and having that Super Bowl ring, it's important. He's I love to look back ever since 2016 when the Cavs won a championship. My mindset and my viewpoint of our Cleveland teams have always been different now, and my expectations and what I see and how I compare what we had in the championship team and how that can play out in our other franchises. And for me, a McLeod is like a James Jones, where maybe he didn't get a lot of minutes, wasn't a starter, but man, he was that voice in the locker room. He'd go out there, he could make a few plays. And so, yeah, hopefully he can still have an impact on this team vocally, even though he won't be on the field, because once again, bringing Flacco in because of that Super Bowl and playoff presence. And we're going to need all the guys we can get to have that, especially with the great coaching staff that I believe we have, from the Bill Callahans with the offensive line to Schwartz, guys that's been there before. I got to give those guys credit and what they're doing, especially with Bill Callahan. We're on 4th and 5th tackles now.
Mm-hmm.
And those guys stepped up yesterday. DTR there was only 1 sack. And I think you saw the play. I think Hudson's drop on his protection was way too far. He was damn near stepped on DTR, allowing TJ Watt to get him that one play in the second half. And but the offensive line, we got to give them a lot of credit, a lot of love to our 2 badass guards, Teller and Bertonio. Those guys have been playing fantastic.
Absolutely. Last thing I want to get into is did you see Mike Ford?
Oh yeah, terrible towel.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. That's all I need to say about that.
Yeah, Browns fans, you guys were fantastic over the weekend. Love seeing all the videos on social media. Keep all that up. Keep all the hype. I haven't been able to get down to the stadium this year. It's fun living through what you guys see and the things that you get to do down at the stadium. So it brings me a lot of joy to see you guys having a lot of fun down there. Hopefully taking care of each other, not beating each other up too much, and looking out for each other like we should as Cleveland fans.
That's right. I second all that. I got to thank the Browns because that win yesterday absolutely erased my worst football memory of this year. It didn't erase it, but it made it feel a lot better when I was in Pittsburgh and watched just that god-awful game surrounded by a bunch of black and yellow jerseys, and it wasn't pleasant. So thank you, Browns, for no. Thank you, Browns, for putting a beat down on these boys, physically dominating them. Anything else you want to tell the people?
That's the only thing I want to say, and you brought up a great point. We are watching a football team that is growing together. We feel that they are strong in their locker room. We feel they're strong in their practices, their mindset. It feels really, really good. And to say that when I compared the Cavs championship team to this, where you feel that locker room is together, you feel that coaching staff is together, that these guys are just playing the next team that happens to be on the schedule. And this week it's Denver Broncos, but we need to continue to impose our will. That's what I keep saying, impose our will at the line of scrimmage, both offensively and defensively, and keep making our tackles. Hopefully we can get the turnover battle in our favor this week, because I think we're really going to need that in Denver. And but just continue to make yourself felt on that field every Sunday, because now we have that reputation. The teams know what kind of defense is coming to the game. The teams know that we're not going to quit for 4 quarters and that we're going to be there. So be proud of this football team. Continue to support it, support each other, and hopefully we're going to have end up with a win in the win column. Like I said, I have my doubts as far as concerns on how we're going to play this week. It's going to have to be a different look than probably we've saw in the last 2 weeks, but it could come down to another D-Hop field goal.
I'll take it every day. Take it every day. Well, you guys know what time it is. In the words of the greatest LSU Tiger football man of all time,
which Florida State beat this year.
This man was a graduate assistant in 2000. The immortal Freddie Kitchens. If you don't wear brown and orange, you don't matter. Peace, y'all. Go Browns.
Go Bucks. Go Knowles.